This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, we meet the local woman who's part of a large group calling for action that could protect the city's population. A dredging project attracts a range of responses from residents and more feedback is sought. And the beautification work of a well-known man is recognised with a memorial. Good evening, Dunedin. I'm Rebecca Dupree. A local lecturer is helping to lead a nationwide campaign for law reform. She's among tens of thousands of health professionals that are encouraging the government to take bold action on climate change. They say residents will be at risk if nothing is done.
Campaigning for a healthier future. Thousands of doctors, nurses and academics from 16 different organisations are collectively tackling climate change. They're calling on the government to lead the way internationally, and they say it's not just the planet that will benefit.
Climate change itself is a threat, but also we have this great opportunity if we put health and fairness at the centre of climate policy and climate action in New Zealand, that we could have some really exciting gains for health and for fairness in New Zealand.
The call to action preempts the United Nations global climate negotiations in December. Climate and Health Council members say well-planned action to reduce carbon emissions will improve health and well-being locally and overseas. And they say the best way forward is for the government to commit to making New Zealand carbon zero by 2050.
These targets are fully achievable. The sticking point now is the political will to do it, as well as the influence that large multinational fossil fuel companies have on national policies.
Climate change is predicted to transform the world forever, with higher sea levels, warmer days and more extreme weather. The council says that will have a negative effect on people's health and livelihood, but changes at the community level can help.
Moving people out of their cars and into public transport and walking and cycling, we know that will be fantastic for people's health as well as for the climate.
Council members are planning to continue lobbying the government to take more action. They are hoping their pleas will see New Zealand emerge as a leader during this year's UN Climate Conference. Ruby McAndrew, 39 Dunedin News.
The University of Otago is the latest local tertiary provider to increase its student fees by the maximum amount. The university's council has decided to increase fees for next year by 3%. That means most full-time students will be paying another $500 on average. The move is opposed by student representatives and some staff who suggest the university should scale back its campus beautification work instead. But the Vice-Chancellor says fees must increase as the government is not providing enough funding to the organisation. Last month, Otago Polytechnic increased its fees by the maximum 3%, which was also opposed by student representatives. Public opinion is being sought for Port Otago's harbour dredging project. The company wants to extend its consent to dump excess material around the harbour, and that's generating a range of responses from residents.
Digging underneath the surface. Port Otago's dredging the harbour, but its consent to dispose of excess material will soon expire. And before the company reapplies for consent, it's consulting the local community.
It's a chance for people to come and learn a little bit more about what's going on and guide us if we're looking in the wrong places and doing the wrong kind of work.
Port Otago's digging out parts of the harbour channel to allow for bigger ships. The dredged material is being dumped in 3 inshore spots at Hayward Point, Spit Beach and Shelley Beach. Local residents are interested in how the disposal project is affecting the area.
Our Moana community is really interested about their beach, both on the Big Beach side and the Shelley Beach side. And of course the natural environment like penguins and those kind of elements, it's all part of that inshore environment where we've historically disposed of dredging material.
The first public session proved popular, with dozens of Moana and Port Chalmers residents showing an interest. Port staff have been highlighting the science behind the project, to give locals an insight into what's happening below the surface.
A lot of the time people just want to know more information about how what the port company is doing is going to affect them, their lives and what's important to them. So a lot of people had questions answered that they just didn't know about, which is great, and that's really a lot of the purpose of doing these exercises.
Another information session is being held tonight in Dunedin. Public consultation isn't necessary, but staff believe it's important to keep locals in the loop on what's a multi-million-dollar project. Annabelle Dick, 39 Dunedin News.
The local branch of the Blind Foundation is holding a special event to celebrate the organisation's 125th anniversary. The foundation was set up in 1890 and is the country's main provider of sight loss services. In Dunedin, more than 100 members and supporters are expected to attend a lunch with live entertainment. It's taking place tomorrow ahead of the foundation's yearly annual appeal. More than 12,000 people use the organisation's services throughout the country. Staff say demand is higher than ever before. A memorial to a local philanthropist has just been unveiled. The tribute recognises the life work of a late Rotarian who helped to beautify the city with daffodils, but his work with flowers isn't all he's known for.
Sitting among the daffodils. These people are gathered to honour a man whose charity work impacted a whole city. Les Cleveland was part of the Rotary Club of Dunedin and his humanitarian work was widespread.
People don't realise how big a contribution he's actually made, and we felt that it was important to put something up to say this is in memory of Les, and particularly it's among the daffodils that he has donated.
Cleveland had the idea to grow daffodils on his Saddle Hill property and sell them. Over 32 years, he sold 800,000 daffodils, contributing more than $200,000 to local charities.
He was a successful businessman in his own right, but he also used his skills to develop charity work and found ways of exploiting resources that were perhaps underutilised.
Cleveland's charity work spans decades. He was also the driving force behind transporting citrus fruit to the south by train and finding a location for the Orokonui Eco Sanctuary. His love for the outdoors and charity work combined to generate thousands for the community.
All of these charities have benefited with that money, and we've only just taken what might be $200 a year in expenses for the petrol of moving the flowers, so it's 99% gone to all the charities.
Recipients of his life's work include the Yellow-Eyed Penguin Trust and the Blind Foundation, and his legacy remains among his favourite flowers. Annabelle Dick, 39 Dunedin News.
Still to come on 39 Dunedin News, a project to improve the look of empty shop fronts is on the boil, and we take a look at the factors influencing Otago's ITM Cup success to date.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell menswear, it fits.
Mobility Scooters Otago. Mobility scooters, new and used, electric manual wheelchairs, strollers and walkers. Free home demonstration and delivery. Call Tony on 03 455 2875 or visit our showroom, 211 King Edward Street, opposite Westpac. At your locally owned and operated Veggie Boys store, we've got fresh produce daily, fruit, veggies and more. Competitive prices is just one of the reasons people come to us in all seasons. Convenient locations and friendly crew. Veggie Boys Dunedin, come try something new. Stores in the north, the south, be our guest. Centre City as well to serve you the best. Daily specials on produce that are hard to beat, all tasty and healthy and all good to eat. Don't forget, we've also got your milk, bread and meat. Veggie Boys Dunedin, your guaranteed a treat.
Granddad loved his family and surfing, in that order. He taught me to surf, and we spent a lot of time in the water together over the years. When he died, I strapped the camera to the nose of his old board and filmed the paddle out at St. Clair. Gillian's played the video on the big screen at his funeral. Grandad would have loved having everyone come out one last surf with him.
Gillian's Funeral Services, helping families celebrate the lives of their loved ones for generations. Gillians.co.nz.
Mosgiel Mowers Plus can help you with products to make your garden maintenance jobs easier. Lawn mowers, ride-ons, chainsaws, line trimmers. Sales and service are our specialty. Mosgiel Mowers Plus. Phone 489 3572 22B Gordon Road, Mosgiel.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
Big Orange, for all your movies, records, books and games. Pre-loved needs and vinyl records, 45s, DVDs. A South Dunedin family-owned business for over 15 years. Check us out on Facebook, opposite Westpac on the sunny side of King Edward Street.
Bring some more joy into your world by adopting one of our adult animals at SPCA Otago. Call now on 473 8252. Please adopt a pet now, they will love you forever.
Hedges are something we almost take for granted. A good hedge needs regular maintenance to look its best and to add value and character to your property. For all your hedge care needs, call the team at SGC Services on 0800 783 453.
Welcome back. Internet use is soaring nationwide, with residents using almost 1.5 times more data than a year ago. That doesn't include internet use on mobile phones, which is also rapidly increasing. The average household data use is the equivalent of watching about 30 hours of on-demand television per week. More people are also opting for unlimited broadband as opposed to capping data use. 1 in every 3 connections are now uncapped, as opposed to 1 in every 12 last year. Dunedin's Gigatown win means the city's internet use is expected to increase at an even faster rate. And on that note, let's take a look at today's financials. The NZX 50 has closed the day up 49 points. It's now at 5,776. The Dow Jones is down 157 points. And to the exchange rates, the Kiwi dollar is down slightly against the Australian, but we are up against the other currencies we follow. A project to brighten up empty retail spaces is about to get underway in the city. Local designer Tamsin Cooper is involved in the concept and she's here to tell us about it. Good evening.
Good evening.
What is the Urban Dream Brokerage project?
Wow, it is a project to revitalise the empty spaces within Dunedin City.
And how did it all come about?
Well, it's actually a Wellington City initiative through a group called Letting Space and Urban Dream Brokerage in Wellington. They've been running successfully 3.5 years and they've put some fantastic projects within the central city of Wellington. And so Dunedin saw it as an opportunity to learn from Wellington and get some things humming in our central city.
And tell us about your involvement.
I'm called the Urban Dream Broker, so I'm going to be brokering dreams. No, that's a great title. I am going to be the broker between the creative person or organisation that wishes to put a project in a vacant space and the property owner, and also liaising with people like the media to promote the projects.
And what's happening over the next few weeks?
The next few weeks are very important. We've got a very quick turnaround. We actually have just started calling for submissions. The submission form went live on the website last night, so hopefully if anybody is interested they can download it from the website.
Yeah, how can people submit ideas?
It's quite a simple process, so they need to go to the website, which is urbandreambrokerage.org. And click on the Dunedin page. I would recommend they look at the Wellington page as well to see what has been happening in Wellington. Porirua is also doing a similar project, so it's got examples of projects that have been successful in Wellington. It lists the criteria, the kind of projects that we're looking for, and then there's a simple application process that people can fill out, and then there's an advisory panel that meet after the 30th of October. So it's the deadline is the 30th of October, so we don't have very long. And we'll look at those projects and assess them and see what we think would fit in the centre of Dunedin.
What kind of spaces are going to be used?
Well, initially we're focusing on the centre of town because unfortunately there are a few for lease signs in the main street. So we're really, really hopeful that we'll find some projects that will fit in some empty retail spaces within the city. We're looking for projects that aren't necessarily, they don't have to be an arts related project, they can just be a project that the public will want to engage with.
How is this going to benefit the public?
Well, we think that it will help sort of brighten the city, get people coming into the city more for other reasons, create engagement really with our spaces. At the moment, you know, there's kind of it happens in lots of cities around the world where sometimes the centre of the city kind of spreads out into urban areas or into suburban areas. We want to try and bring some of that buzz back into the centre of town.
Who is going to be paying for the project locally?
The Dunedin City Council is funding the brokerage position. We are getting together with local property owners who are positive about filling their spaces, because often what will happen is you'll get a fantastic project in a space and people will see that retail space in a different light, and then sometimes it will be tenanted soon after. So the DCC is funding the project. It's a pilot project, a project of Wellington. The Wellington organisation are overseeing the project in its first few months to get us sort of up and running, and then we'll see what happens after that.
When can we expect to see some empty stores not empty anymore?
Well, no pressure, but we're looking at the first project to be up before Christmas, so November would be wonderful, but December possibly too.
Urban Dream Broker, Tamsin Cooper, thank you so much for your time. Good luck.
My pleasure, thanks.
After the break on 39 Dunedin News, a semi-final awaits Otago's ITM Cup side, and is the University of Otago taking a stand against fossil fuels?
Sir Bob Charles, New Zealand's greatest golfer and still going strong.
I'm sure that Sportsville was a contributing factor to my success, and I'll continue to use it.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville, a product so good he puts his name to it.
Well, I believe Sportsville helps maintain your quality of life.
Now being used by active men and women globally to support strength and mobility.
It works for me.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville in the new All Black Pack. Call now for the Sportsville special, 0800 502 402.
McClellan Refrigeration is your one-stop shop for heat pumps in Dunedin. We have a range of heating, air conditioning and refrigeration solutions. We also have 20 years experience. McClellan Refrigeration, call us on 477 0088.
Pallet fires are growing in popularity in Otago with people who want a clean and efficient form of home heating. The sight of a burning flame without the problems of chopping, stacking and carting wood around is a winner. Pallet fires, so easy, so efficient.
Hedges are something we almost take for granted. A good hedge needs regular maintenance to look its best and to add value and character to your property. For all your hedge care needs, call the team at SGC Services on 0800 783 453.
At your locally owned and operated Veggie Boys store, we've got fresh produce daily, fruit, veggies and more. Competitive prices are just one of the reasons people come to us in all seasons. Convenient locations and friendly crew, Veggie Boys Dunedin, come try something new. Stores in the north, the south, be our guest, Centre City as well to serve you the best. Daily specials on produce that are hard to beat, all tasty and healthy and all good to eat. Don't forget we've also got your milk, bread and meat. Veggie Boys Dunedin, you're guaranteed a treat.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Wake up time and another frantic day ahead for Haraway's Oat Singles. With 3 delicious flavours in each pack, they don't last long with this family. They're so convenient and tasty, and they're ready in seconds. Haraway's Oat Singles are the ideal breakfast or snack on the run for today's busy families. And there's a flavour to suit everyone. Beat the rush and make sure you get your favourite flavour. Haraway's Oat Singles. Try new Kiwi Favourites Caramel Variety Pack.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Welcome back. Otago's ITM Cup side has risen from the ashes to make this year's semi-final. The team trails Wellington by 5 points going into the final round of fixtures. And on the back of a winning streak, players are confident of success.
Exceeding expectations. After a 6th place finish last season, Otago's ITM Cup team is in the semi-final and chasing a 6th straight win. Those at the helm say there are plenty of factors to thank for their newfound success.
After the Highlanders had their win, we said, well, let's just keep riding this wave. That's, rugby's massive down here at the moment. It means a lot to a lot of people, and a lot of people have opinions on it. And we just want to make the Otago people and the province proud. And I think the way we've played and the style of play that we've been doing is doing that. So it's really encouraging.
A major change has been Brown's appointment as head coach, but he's not taking all the credit for the team's stellar season so far.
It's been awesome. It's not really down to me, to be honest. The players have been outstanding. We've got really good leaders, and everyone from in the whole squad, even the guys we bring in, are contributing really well. So it's a massive team effort.
Players are taking a relaxed approach to the semi-final, reflecting on their earlier loss to Wellington. With more at stake this time around, they're hoping they'll have more luck against the home side than in September.
It was a difficult night though. The conditions were really bad and windy, which is sometimes what you get at Wellington, so that's good preparation for this week. But they're a top class team, so it'll be a tough challenge, but we're looking forward to it.
A win against Wellington in Saturday's semi would be the team's 6th straight victory, but the real prize will be a spot in the championship final. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
The University of Otago is considering whether to take a stand against fossil fuel investment as requested by many top academics. The divestment debate is heating up on campus, and Otago Daily Times reporter Carla Green joins us to talk about it. Good evening. What is the university being asked to do?
So they're being asked to divest from fossil fuels, which is basically the opposite of investment. And the university itself has 2 funds. One is the university's Foundation Trust, and the other is the university's own investment fund. So the Foundation Trust, which has about $180 million in different investments, has the people who are asking for divestment say it has about 1.5% or $2.75 million invested in oil, gas, and consumables, which is more or less the fossil fuel industry. The university hasn't really specified exactly how much it has invested. And then the university's other fund has much more strict regulations on what it's allowed to invest in. So it doesn't actually have direct investments in the fossil fuel industry, or any investments in it for that matter. And divestment is basically used as kind of a political tool to put pressure on the fossil fuel industry. And it's something that's kind of being pushed by environmentalists and people concerned about climate change.
What is the argument against this?
Well, at this week's council meeting, it was on the agenda, and so we got to hear people's arguments for and against. One argument that came out was from one of the councillors who was basically saying that as a society, we're really reliant on fossil fuels at this stage. And so it's basically he was saying that he thinks it's unethical to divest from fossil fuels because it's kind of hypocritical. Another argument came from Vice Chancellor Harlene Hayne, who was saying that because the university itself doesn't have any investments in fossil fuels, that she thought it was kind of an empty thing to say that the university was divesting because it didn't have any investments in the first place. And the Foundation Trust, which is the one that does have some investments, we think, has already passed, kind of changed its ethical investment policy, basically to say that in the future it will discourage itself from investing in the fossil fuel industry. But it's not actually clear if it's moved any money around as a result of that.
Have any other New Zealand universities divested from fossil fuels?
Yes, Victoria University in Wellington has, and the Dunedin City Council, which is not a university, but it also divested from fossil fuels earlier this year.
Otago Daily Times reporter Carla Green, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. A local lecturer is leading a nationwide call by health professionals for the government to take more action on climate change. Port Otago is seeking public opinion on its plan to continue dumping material dredged from the harbour at 3 inshore sites. And a memorial to late Rotarian Les Cleveland has just been unveiled, paying tribute to his charitable work growing and selling daffodils. Well, it's time now to find out what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times, and we're joined by Bruce Query. Good evening.
Good evening, Rebecca. Today we caught up with a 68-year-old Palmerston man who was involved a couple of days ago in a serious dog attack. He was bitten on the arm and down to his shin, down the bone on his shin. And we also spoke to a neighbour who came to his aid, and those dogs were destroyed, as we reported. We've also been speaking to the owner of some replica guns that got stolen from North East Valley, and he has fears for how those replica guns may be used. The fire service will be on the alert tomorrow with hot winds forecast. Brendan McCullum is giving evidence in the perjury trial against Chris Cairns in London. And sport will have the names of the All Blacks who will be playing against France in the quarterfinal in the Rugby World Cup this weekend.
And that should be a good read too. Thank you, Bruce. It's tomorrow's ODT. Time now for local weather.
This local weather report proudly brought to you in association with Silberhorn Sportsville.
And here is today's city view. It's taken of a kite surfer on the Upper Harbour. And a beautiful day it was out there today. At 3 o'clock it was 17 degrees in the central city, 21 at the Gardens and 19 out on the Tyree. To the situation, and an anticyclone is moving across the Tasman and pushing a westerly flow over New Zealand. A trough of low pressure with some cold fronts will move in this weekend. It's followed by a cool southwest flow. To the forecast for some of the main towns in the Lower South Island for tomorrow, westerlies in Invercargill with some rain. Some rain for Gore and Tiana with westerlies easing, and gusty westerlies for Alexandra. A bit of rain there as well, high of 19. Some rain again for Queenstown, westerlies easing, strong nor'westers in Oamaru with high cloud increasing, and gusty westerlies with late rain for Wanaka and Twizel, both towns expecting a high of 19. And Dunedin tonight, westerlies will become strong and gusty with cloud increasing. Tonight's low is 9 degrees. Those gusty westerlies will ease tomorrow, but the high cloud will remain, and we can expect some light rain from evening, going for 22 degrees. And on Saturday, becoming fine with cool sou'westers dying out, 13. And finally, to the Otago Pallet Fires tidal and fishing information. High tide tomorrow morning is at 25 to 7. Low tide follows at 25 past 1. And fishing conditions look pretty good tomorrow, especially around 20 to 4 in the afternoon. And that is local news for Thursday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.